to have confidence in the fact that no one's actually looking at what you look like. And if you're confident in your job and what you're speaking about, then that's all you need. You just need to know, what a break lease is in your state, or what a good application looks like. You can just I just kind of used to write down as well, like every job I did in my role, and I could make a video about every job I did. Maintenance, how we find tradespeople, why we do routine inspections as often as they are. Like, it's really, you just literally write down all your tasks and there's a video that you can make about it. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Property Management Podcast. I'm your host, Kylie Walker, aka That Property Mum. Now, like many of us, my guest today fell into property management. And by that, I mean, she didn't set out with great career aspirations to be a property manager or real estate agent. She just sort of found herself working in a real estate business. But after becoming a mum, she really didn't want to go back to an office Monday to Friday, working 9 to 5. So what else would you do with a new bub on your hip but start your own property management business? Crazy, right? Not for Kelly Smyth. She's a true entrepreneur in every sense of the word. She's unashamedly ambitious, creative, driven, and 100% not afraid to put herself out there. I could only dream of having as much confidence as she's got at her age. Not only did she start her own business, though, she's had phenomenal growth in her first year, securing 100 managements, and there's plenty more rolling in the door. How did she do it? I'm sure you've already asked yourself this question. And of course, there is the hard work, grit, and hustle required from every business owner. But she also exploded out of nowhere. And she's in a competitive market up against some of the biggest real estate brands. So how did she do it? Well, she created a personal branding and marketing strategy that her clients and contacts could not ignore, from social media content to hanging signs in trees across the Hunter Valley. Yes, you heard me right. Kelly has left no stone unturned in her strategy to become a leading property manager in the Hunter Valley region. So take a listen to her story and definitely take a leaf out of her strategy playbook. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me on the Property Management Podcast. Super excited to connect with you over the podcast. We connected in person earlier this year at a conference, and it was lovely to meet you. And you are a breath of fresh air, an amazing property manager and mum as well. So before we dive in, let's share with our audience a little bit about yourself and how you got started in property management.
Yeah, so I am based in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales. My company is called Hunter Property Management, and we've been open for about 12 months now. Started from zero. I've been doing property management since 2015, I think it is. So like almost
You don't look old
10
enough.
years. Thank you. I'll take it. Started in just like your average like real estate, just like fell into it, which is what I think that most people say. They didn't set out to be a property manager. They just kind of took it and rolled with it. And yeah, here we are now running my own thing.
That's amazing. And I know that you're a working mum, a single mum now as well. And I guess like a lot of our audience is women and working mums.
Yeah.
Just maybe talk to us a little bit about how has having your own business made it easier for you, or has it made it harder? Like, and I know at the conference I saw you, working a lot on your laptop. So you can't kind of ever switch off at the moment?
Yeah, and I think it's like depends on your kid's age, right? And like everyone's situation is so different. Like I've gone through having had like my son's only 3.5, so I've gone through having like a really little kid and a partner to now having like a toddler who likes to challenge the world and being a single mum now. So I just don't think there's like any right way to do it. I appreciate the flexibility that like my business gives me, absolutely. But I think anyone who runs a business or even just is a property manager knows like it kind of like doesn't finish at 5, and you can try and put like things into place, but I just kind of roll with it. And I have set days where he's at daycare, and I just try and do as much work as I can in those times when he has care, and then try and give him the rest of the time. And sometimes that might mean for me picking up an extra day of daycare if it's a busy week. I've had to employ staff. We just kind of have to roll with it. There's no one set way, I don't think.
Absolutely. It's an integration. And sometimes you've got to
Yeah.
work more, sometimes you can work less. You got
Yeah.
the kid, if you're, it's a little boy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
he's sick, then you're going to need to be spending more time with him. So yeah, I
That's
love
right.
that
If
you've
he's just having a hard week, like I think running a business where like I've built every relationship from the ground up, sometimes it's going to be like, hey, I've got my son today. It's going to have to be a tomorrow thing. And I'm grateful that I have such strong relationships with my clients that I can do that if I need to. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great boundaries as well.
Yeah.
And I love that you've worked that out.
Yeah.
The integration with your son from such a young age. It took me a long time to work that out.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, you've built those relationships from the ground up really quickly. So talk about how you started the business. What made you decide to go out on your own? And I'm curious because you've got a great personal brand as well. Did you have a personal brand and then start the business? Or did you start the business and then build your personal brand? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so I think I started when I came off like my maternity leave. I was like, I want something that's mine and something that I can push like my own content through rather than having something that was tied to like a particular company. Because I think I was nervous going back to work. And I think as like a new mum and a property manager, like you never know if it's going to work out where you start somewhere fresh. And where I used to work was too far away from my home now that I had a child. So it's like, I just need something that's my own because I don't know where my re-entering the industry is going to take me after my maternity leave. And I just want something that's mine, no matter if I have to hop, skip and jump around companies or whether I do my own thing. Like I was really up in the air. I was only going back to work 3 days a week. So I turned my old Instagram profile that had like the name of where I worked in it and I turned that into Hunter Valley Property Manager. And that's off the back of Ash being Perth Property Manager. It's really searchable. People find you, and that's a whole other thing in itself. So I started that and just started pushing my own thing basically. Even though I was only back at work 3 days a week, I knew I was passionate and I love being creative. So I just kind of started there. Then when I decided that it was time to go out on my own. I'd already kind of had that there established, which was a little bit of a benefit, but I think it really took like a push after I started the business on pushing more through that because I think you feel a little bit when you're with another company kind of tied to what you can post because it's not yours. So once it was fully mine, I just kind of started really pushing Hunter Valley Property Manager and where that had taken me and the connections that had helped me build through even people throughout our industry as well and connecting with others and seeing what they were doing with their pages. So we started the business, yeah, about 18 months ago, 12 months ago. And I was working with a developer and they kind of instilled a lot of confidence in me that I could do it. And we went out and did it. And then from there, I was like, all right, if they'll back me, who else will? And then I just started to put myself out there and establish like really strong connections. And the way I saw it was we can go out and pitch to Mr. Landlord here and Mrs. Landlord there. But who can I go to that's going to be able to connect me to multiple investors at once? And that's the connections that I started building from the very start when I had zero properties.
That is so clever. So would you say that the clients or the relationships came off the back of your established personal profile, or was
I
it the other way around?
I think that I had like a bit of reach on there and I probably grew it up to like 800 or 900 followers back then maybe, and I'd had the like account pre-existing as well. I just kind of changed the name on it, so I think there was a little bit there. I don't think it gave me my full reach. I think it really come to its full potential after I started my own business, but it was an important part for me to continue to push the business from there. Like I push all new business through to my Instagram page because if I send them out like a pre-listing email and I've got the link in there that they can just click to go straight through to my Instagram, they're going to go there and I know they're going to see my face. And I don't meet a lot of my investors because they are out of area. So that just pushes them there to then see my face and they feel like they know me when they're picking up the phone and talking to me because they've seen me there. So I've, yeah, kind of harnessed that since then to really push our growth and link it that way.
That's a great strategy. That is, you've definitely thought that through. And talk to me then about the relationships that you've been able to build off the back of that, because it's not just one thing or the other. It's all intertwined and interweaved, and all
Yeah,
makes a strategy, really, doesn't it?
it
So yeah.
does.
So what are the
Yeah.
relationships that are proving really powerful for you?
I think like the reach, like I push that page over my agency one. I've got the agency one there, but the Hunter Valley property manager one is really the one where I establish a lot of those connections. And I think again, just showing up and showing my face on those stories, people feel like they know you. So I suppose the first thing I can think of is like other property managers and people in the industry. They see me there, and you would underestimate the amount of people who have clients in other areas or states of the country who have properties that are in your area. So when they're having those conversations with their clients, they then think of me in that area. So property managers is one, and then other people who are in like property related industries, like mortgage brokers, accountants, developer, or people kind of in that realm. Again, they go there, they see me, comes up on their recommended, and then I can grow via them. And again, they see me and they feel like they know me because I'm showing up and posting things, and they're seeing education and they're seeing results. And then again, I send all my landlords there. So my landlords, they might not hear from me all of the time, but they see me. I see them, they're watching my stories. So it helps like get them across the line so they can see I know what I'm talking about and see I'm out and about and I'm actively working on their properties. But it also kind of helps harness like maintaining that connection because they see me more than they actually see me and hear from me.
Yeah, and they're also seeing that it's creating that trust and that building your
Yeah.
reputation as that expert as well, isn't it? Through the
Yeah.
content that you're creating. And you sounds like you love content. Before we jumped on, you were telling me you'd been to a content shoot
This
with somebody
morning.
else. So talk to me about your content, because that's the next part of the strategy, isn't it? A lot of
Mm.
people, when they're in property management, they're busy running businesses. Uh, Content is easy to slip by the wayside. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. So how does your content strategy look, and how much importance do you put on that?
Yeah, so there's definitely times where I'm far too busy to post content, but I keep saying it, but I always make sure I have a story up. Like if I can't be creating because my business or my son or whatever's going on in my life is dragging me away from that, I'll always have stories up no matter what. But I have this strategy that I created, and I use Plannable. So Plannable is a software where you can basically push through to heaps of different platforms at once. So like, because I've got Hunter Property Management's pages and Hunter Valley Property Manager, I've got like a lot, but I want it on everything. And Plannable allows me to upload the content, click, 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 everything I want it to go to, whether it be 2 Facebooks, 2 Instagrams, 2 LinkedIns, Google My Business, TikTok, depending on what the piece of content is, will depend on which ones I will click on that day. So I love using that. But what I created, and if anybody wants a copy of this, I can give it to them. I created a 9 post strategy. And basically, I came up with like you have your tiles on Instagram, like the little squares. I created the 9, I call it 9 tiles, 9 tile strategy of 9 rotating posts. And you can basically just do it and then start again and then start again. And I basically say one would be a property related quote and then a post of a signboard. And then it would be a question and answer. And then it would be a photo of us out and about, which I call like a personal post showing our face. And then I would have a what else would I have? I can't really think off the top of my head, but basically it would be like an educational piece and then an out and about or a face or a signboard and then another educational piece. And so I have this 9 post structure basically that you can just, if you come up with 3 questions, that's 3 lots of the 9 out of that tile that you can kind of then just keep going. And I have a whole document where I just put it in there and I've got the link through to the Canva template and we just swap the questions out. And that's kind of how I structure the like social media posts of the business. Does that
That's
make
fantastic.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a very similar strategy. I kind of had 3 content pillars. It's people, personality, and property.
Yeah.
And the property can be educational, though it doesn't have to be a property every week. We do not want to see properties posted every single post,
Mm.
but it could be the educational content thrown in there as well. So did you know, or a fact or something like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
very similar strategy. So, and if you want to share that, I'll put it in the show notes
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
anyone listening. But that's the key though, isn't it? Like, creating a system like anything in your business, creating that system so that it just kind of gets automated. And as you bring in a VA or team members into your business, that's something that if you're creating the content that they can then take over posting it,
Absolutely.
scheduling it.
And that
We
just goes
schedule.
in there, and it can just like go up at whatever times it needs to. We can change the days or the times. Like Planable's really like the perfect place to like put that all. But yeah, if you've got 9 different topics and then you can think of 10 things for each topic, then you've got content for months and months and months. It makes it really simple.
It does. And how do you go with video content? Do you do a lot of video content, or is it more just the static sort of posts? If you are anything like me, you think you know your rent roll numbers. Well, I thought I did until I had a rent roll health check, and I was quite literally shocked. The money I was leaving on the table was astounding, and this is not something that I'm proud to admit. There were missed management fees, let fees, advertising, and lease renewal fees not being charged, and properties even without bonds. And all of this was happening despite monthly audits being conducted in my business. So how did I uncover all these gaps in my valuable income? Well, I had a rent roll due diligence from my good friend Tazi, aka the Rent Roll Queen and founder of the Tazi Way, a specialist in rent roll due diligence, business valuation, and management rights. The Tazi Way is the innovative force driving the real estate industry. With 25 years of business and real estate acumen, they find gaps and risks in your agency to find undiscovered value. If you'd like to book your business in for a rent roll due diligence, head to the link in the show notes and mention That Property Mum for a 10% discount. If you're ready to be a super organised, focused and productive property manager, buckle up, because Colmio is about to revolutionise the way that you work. Colmio is the driving force behind property management excellence in residential real estate. Now picture this, a comprehensive end-to-end system designed to be the beating heart of your property management tasks, manage your properties, owners and tenants, and handle payments, inspections, and even marketing listings without leaving the platform. Colmio is designed to be an all-in-one solution to all your property management needs. And here's the game changer. Colmio isn't just software. It's been awarded the most innovative prop tech scale up in 2023. Yes, you heard it right. Colmio has been recognised for their groundbreaking approach to property management software. How good is that? So property managers, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, dive into the future of property management with Colmio. You can book in a demo with the team today and go in their weekly draw for a Prezi gift card worth $100. All you need to do is to head to the link colmio.com/thatpropertymum, and Colmio is KOLMEO.
No, I really like video content, and even if I can't find the energy to film video content, I think there's a lot of power in actually creating a reel rather than a still post. So if you can do a reel where it's a property related quote and it's being typed across the screen, for example, that's going to give you a lot better response than just having a post with written text on it. If you can give it some movement and turn it into a reel, I think you're going to have better reach with that. A video doesn't really bother me. I used to be really frightened by it, but I always tell everybody that you just got to do it, because your first one and your second one, your third one and your 20th one are all going to be crap. The only way to get better is to like do the crap one, the crap one, the crap one, the crap one. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then it will just turn into like a good one. Like it's just time. Like you have to do them. And then in 2 months' time, you'll be like, oh, I didn't even think about it anymore. But if you don't just keep doing it and get like those ones out of the way, you will never get better. You can't refilm the same thing over and over again and just look at it on your phone. You've got to get comfortable with just putting it out there and seeing what happens.
Absolutely. I did, when I first started That Property Mum, I did 12 months of video every single week, and it's all in my Instagram feed. So you can go back and actually have a look how I started. And I used to use a video prompting thing. I think it was called
Me
teleprompt or
too.
something.
So did
Yeah.
I. Yeah.
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 But now, yeah, I mean, some weeks I do lots of video, other weeks when things, like you said, get really hectic,
Mm-hmm.
I just, I won't do a video for a couple of weeks. So,
I think you just
but
have to have confidence in the fact that no one's actually looking at what you look like. And if you're confident in your job and what you're speaking about, then that's all you need. You just need to know, what a break lease is in your state, or what a good application looks like. You can just break. I just kind of used to write down as well, like every job I did in my role, and I could make a video about every job I did: maintenance, how we find tradespeople, why we do routine inspections as often as they are. Like, it's really, you just literally write down all your tasks and there's a video that you can make about it. Yeah.
absolutely. And you know your stuff anyway as a property manager. You know what you're
Yeah.
doing, what your day-to-day stuff is. So do you you said you focus mainly on Instagram, but is there other platforms that you recommend as well?
Yeah. So Facebook and Instagram are just easy to sync together. And again, with Planable, it makes it very easy for me to post to an array of places. So I do post more places than I probably need to. So I do Instagram, Facebook. I do TikTok. I think you just have to bear in mind that with TikTok, you're going to get a very tenant heavy response in your comments. But just bear in mind that the right people are watching, they're just not interacting. So I think there is value in posting that. I think you need to have like your brand recognized from the get-go. So just make sure you're using the same color and the same text every time you're posting on there, so people kind of start to familiarize themselves with it being you. Like, I have the same purple text on all of my TikTok videos, and people just kind of know it's me when it pops up. I also use LinkedIn. LinkedIn was really powerful for me in the beginning of my business, and it's something I need to put more energy into now, because I would just find who the builders were, or the mortgage brokers, or anybody in my area, and I would connect with them. And now I have a really big reach on there because I spent a lot of time doing that and maxing out my connections and just connecting. If there was a builder that I wanted to work with, I would connect with everybody in their company, because they don't know I'm connecting with everybody else in their company until now, when I've just outed
Told
myself.
everybody, yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like, that's a very easy way to get connected with people who are high up in the companies that you want to work with. There's power in going to the top sometimes and just putting yourself out there. And that's really paid off for me with particular builders and stuff like that.
Yeah. And is your strategy, your branding strategy, predominantly online, or do you do a lot of offline stuff as well in terms of local community or your brand boards? What other stuff do
Yeah.
you do?
Yeah, so I really follow a theory of, I don't know if it's a theory, I'm sure it's probably proven. I heard it somewhere. It takes 12 interactions with your business for someone to convert to you as a customer. And I want to get those 12 exposures to them as quick as possible, basically. So I grew putting all my cards out on community notice boards that are at your local Woolies and Coles. If I have a property in a main road, it gets a 2.4 meter signboard that is bright orange in my color, and I will keep it up there as long as I can, so people see that. I also do a lot of, what was I going to say? Oh, all the community pages on Facebook. I make sure I'm known in there. And if you go into certain community pages in our area, there is masses of comments that recommend my business. And it's not even the active posts that give me the most business. It's people searching property manager in the community group and finding old posts where I was recommended above everybody else, and them reaching out to me back through there. So I think there's power in community groups as well, because we are all online these days. And yeah, just getting out and about to all of the community events. If I can have a stall, I will. Getting out and actually like saying g'day to your neighbours and having those conversations. My car is fully branded with the business as well. So I just think yeah, the more like the quicker I can get those 12 exposures to people, the better. I don't really do letterbox drops or anything like that. It's more of like a time constraint for me. I'd have to be the people dropping them off, and I don't have time to do that. However, yeah, any way I can get myself in front of everybody, I will try.
That's amazing. I love how you've thought all of this through. I mean, after meeting you, I know you're a full-blown entrepreneur, always full of big ideas.
Yeah.
So talk to me, what are some of the big goals or the the place you want to get to with your current business? And I know that I'm sure there's lots of other businesses to come for you. I can already
Yeah,
sense that.
yeah.
But with the property management business, let's just focus
Yeah.
on that one for now.
Yeah, so we grew to 100 properties in 12 months, which I've come to realize is quite decent. And so I have a lot coming on from certain connections this year, but I don't like to take that as promised, even though it basically is. I like to just take that with a grain of salt, but I would like to grow those connections aside. I'd like to grow another 100 this coming 12 months. So that's what I'll be working on. And doing that same strategy, it takes 12 exposures for someone to convert to business. I'm still going to be working on more ways that I can get my branding in front of your eyes. And if you don't think you see it, you do see it, and it's there. So yeah, that's what we want to do, is continue to grow another 100. Really, I'd like to have 312 months in another 12 months, like in 12 months from now, with what I should have coming from those connections. That will be 100 within itself, and then I'd like to do 100 on top of that. So hopefully 300 in the next 2 months, 12
And
months.
And do you have a traditional office, or do you just do it all from home? Your team
Yep.
works remotely as well?
Yeah. So I have a VA who's overseas, and then I have a girl who works with me usually 2 days a week, but she's usually out on the road. So she'll come to my house if we need to collect keys or work collaboratively. We can do that. But yeah, no office or anything like that. Maybe one day, but where I want to be, there isn't any office space. So we'll just wait for the perfect opportunity to come up.
Amazing. Look, I think I take my hat off to you. I think what you've built and created is absolutely amazing. And like I said, I love that it's the strategy behind what you're doing online, offline, and that 12 pieces of exposure, I think, is great advice to anyone in local communities. And look, there's lots of competitors in all of our
Yeah.
communities. There's lots of property managers, lots of real estate. There's big brand real estates who've got big budgets, but the playing fields have really leveled out now. And if you've got the strategy, the time, the effort, the energy to put into building your brand, there's nothing holding anyone back now, is there?
No, and I think like that was a big thing for me. I was like, I'm going up against some pretty big brands and some very well established agents. And like, I hadn't put my name out there before. I was not a BDM. I just wanted to, I don't know, I just knew I was good at like branding, and I liked marketing, and I liked property management. So I was like, why not give it a shot when I've got people backing me? And so I think that was like, that's also where that 12 exposures come from. Was everybody knows a Ray White, a Rain and Horn, a Bell, but they don't know a Hunter Property Management. So I need to put my branding in front of their face as if I am one of those, and get you thinking about me as much as you would be thinking about them. And that makes it like it's extra hard work and grind for like a small new business coming into the industry. But if I can do it in 12 months, anybody can. We also have, while I think about it, signs up on trees. So and if you're driving around the Hunter Valley, there's no chance you haven't seen one of my signs on a tree.
It's amazing.
Even if it does get ripped down sometimes.
So you just put them in the trees. You don't have to pay the signage costs for them. No, you just sneak
Just
them
got
up,
to buy them, and we just
scale a tree. Love it. Oh, I love it. That is so good. So talk to me then. I love personal development. Can you share a tool, resource, podcast, something that will help our listeners or help them, get to where you are right now?
I think connecting with other people in our industry, there's huge power in that, and seeing what other people are doing like around the country or even in America. that's what I would be looking at, just for not to copy, but see, well, how would that work in my marketplace? How can I tweak it? I went across realestate.com and looked at everyone's advertising, and I was like, what are they doing in Perth? What are they doing in Sydney? What are they doing in Melbourne that they're doing on their realestate.com ads that I'd like to implement? Like, what do I like the look of? What do I not like the look of? And kind of just really got clear with what I wanted. Even when I was building my website, I did the same thing. I looked at websites from across the country and I was like, which do I like the feel of? What don't I like the feel of them? So I think there's big power in that. And I'm doing 50 books this year. I can't read because I read in a diagonal line and I can't. My just brain can't, but I'm doing audio books. So I would recommend, I'm in the middle of listening to Grit at the moment, which I think is one that gets recommended quite a bit. And there's another one I really liked as well. Be Useful by Arnold Schwarzenegger is a really good one. And I really liked the Diary of a CEO book as well. It's kind of really broken down into actionable steps. Chapter by chapter is like one whole topic. And I liked that. And you can go back and like re-listen to certain things. And yeah, that's when I would be at the top of my recommendations for sure.
Yeah, I actually listened to Diary of a CEO on audiobooks as well. And it is a great book. And his podcast is amazing as well. So
it's
the
absolutely.
same name, Diary of a CEO. Absolutely love that. So how can our audience connect further with you? On Instagram?
The best place is on Instagram. So Hunter Valley Property Manager is like where I'm most active. It's where most people find me. It's where I'll pay most attention to. So yeah, Hunter Valley Property Manager on Instagram is where you can find me, or LinkedIn. Kelly Smyth on LinkedIn. That's the other one I would say you can find me on.
Amazing. I'm going to share all those links in the show notes. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a quick favour before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.